Dead Space is one of the creepiest and scariest games ever made. It's a horror masterpiece that knows exactly how to be extremely scary without having to rely on constant jump scares. It's heavily inspired by John Carpenter, and this can be felt throughout the entire game. Dead Space is a perfect horror game because it actually makes you terrified and uncomfortable, but not in the same way other horror games do. Here, you are genuinely scared for most of the game. A big part of why this game is so scary and why it works so well is the amazing atmosphere. From the first moment you arrive on the Ishimura, you can already feel that something isn't right and you know things are about to get way worse. Everything is so quiet and dark. The ship's aesthetic is very industrial and bland, which offers less distractions from the main story and actually adds to the creepiness. Think about it, how many times did you explore the ship or look at its in-game posters and construction because you were fascinated by its style and look? Probably not that often, even if you love this art style. But that also means you likely didn't pay attention to all of the vents and airflow systems, because why would you? Well, it so happens that in Dead Space, some of the monsters you encounter are able to crawl through these vents and attack you at any moment. It doesn't happen all the time or everywhere, which makes it even scarier because it's impossible to anticipate when they will crawl out of there, nor what will come out. Often you'll just pass a vent and right when you thought you were safe, you hear screams and something coming after you. That said, despite having a more grey and dark aesthetic, there were times where the game looked absolutely gorgeous and amazing. Between all the horror going on and the interesting and complex story, it gives you room to breathe and calm down a bit. It does so by changing up the scenery. Some of my favorite moments were the parts of the game that let you explore the outside of the Ishimura in space. Sure, you can't really fly out too far, but looking at the insane size of the universe in front of you was humbling and awesome. You've got this beautiful open space, and of course, out of all the possible stars and planets, you had to arrive on a ship that has been infested with the worst the universe has to offer. It also makes you wonder about real life and the possibility of something else being out there. I mean, there are more planets and galaxies than our human brains can even comprehend, an almost infinite number of them. Logically, it's simply impossible that we are the only intelligent or living beings in the entire universe. But if we are not alone, then it begs the question if finding whatever else is out there is a good idea in the first place. Of course, in Dead Space, you will quickly learn to be extremely cautious and careful. The entire ship is infested with various kinds of creepy monsters, the most prominent being the necromorphs. These are honestly some of the scariest monsters I've ever encountered in any video game. They can play dead and trick you, as well as rip you to pieces with their sharp blade-like limbs. They won't ever stop, and you can shoot them as often as you like, nothing will help except cutting off their limbs. What makes necromorphs so terrifying is their ability to grow out of dead tissue and bodies. If a body has been infected, then it can come back to life in this grotesque form. The resulting creatures are extremely aggressive and will attack any living organism on sight. The sole purpose of all necromorphs is to acquire more corpses to convert and spread the infection. This is one of the clear inspirations Dead Space takes from John Carpenter, in particular his iconic movie The Thing. In fact, there are a lot of similarities and parallels between The Thing and Dead Space. In The Thing, a strange alien creature, whose true form we never really see nor know, manages to infect various people on an outpost in Antarctica. When it infects people or even animals after killing them, it manages to assimilate their bodies as well as bits of their personalities. By doing so, it can replicate the person and appear as if nothing changed, even adapt their personal character traits. Only when feeling threatened does it reveal itself, and when it finally does reveal itself, we can see it grow into a creepy spiral-like thing, very similar to the necromorphs and some of the other monsters on the Ishimura. There is even a moment in The Thing where it gets burnt and a part of it turns into a crawling monster trying to get away. In The Thing, Kurt Russell's character ends up fighting the Thing with fire, as that seems to be the only thing that can kill and stop it. And while in Dead Space you have a lot of different weapons that you can use to protect yourself, you also get a flamethrower to burn these bastards straight to hell.
Yeah, fuck you too!
On the Ishimura, you always feel like something is about to happen. The game even lets you hear the heartbeat of Isaac whenever he feels scared or is anticipating something. This is an awesome feature because it also plays with you and gives you false expectations. It makes you get ready for a fight or brace yourself for a potential jump scare. And these things do happen, but often they don't. Sometimes nothing happens, and those are the moments when you let your guard down and get attacked by something that's even scarier or more disgusting than the last creature you fought. Dead Space does this masterfully because it is unpredictable. At least on your first playthrough, you can't know when and where you will be attacked, which means that all you can do is hope nothing will happen and that you're carrying enough ammunition. It sometimes even feels like the game is making fun of you and your helpless situation, which perfectly mirrors that of Isaac. There is a deeper story here that goes beyond the classic trope of a spaceship getting infected or attacked by aliens. But to get the best picture of the events, you also have to do the side missions as well as explore the ship by going off the main path. This leads to some really interesting lore as well as character building moments for Isaac and of course additional weapons. But it also means that you have to actively put yourself in even more danger in scary situations. This is one of the areas this game has perfected to a maximum degree. Due to the way the level design is made, you will have to backtrack a lot. And because of that, the developers implemented a system that makes backtracking much scarier. Not because they simply respawn all the monsters you killed. They don't do that. In fact, often nothing happens. But sometimes when you backtrack, you will notice how things look slightly different. Some objects may have been moved, maybe some of the dead bodies you saw are all of a sudden not where they were last time. Other times a thick fog will surround you, making going forward harder because you don't know what's hiding in it. And let me tell you, most of the time there are horrors in the fog. This is made even worse because for most of the game you can hear strange whispers. They are often faint, but when you understand them, the atmosphere gets even scarier due to what they are saying.